I recently heard clipped signals create harmonics, which can damage equipment. I assume that's only if the clipping is introduced in the reproduction equipment. So one thing that this makes me think of is like in live sound, you've got a speaker that can only handle this much power. And so you put a limiter there so you don't go above that level. But you're actually just you're not totally safe there, because if you're near the max level that that speaker can handle and then you force it into a limiter, yeah, like the level won't necessarily go above that, but your limiter is creating a lot of distortion if you're still driving in too much input level, which could, I mean, there are situations where it can like light the tweeter on fire, because
That's true.
it's trying to do what it's not designed to do at
right.
near its peak. So I think it is related. Now, if you turned that same level way down and it's an extremely distorted signal, you're far less likely, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, to damage that thing. So
That's
again,
right.
here we're talking about loudness, but it's there are different stages. The distortion can be in a signal that's really driven into the speaker, or that same amount of distortion could be lower level relative to the speaker's capacity, and you'd be in danger in one situation and in less danger in the other.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, when you have clipping, you have to understand what's happening. Is you've taken a signal and that had you have to be able to take the idea of there being a negative to positive, and then a return back to the negative, which we would call sinusoidal curve, and you squared it off. Okay, so now you have to take what that means in terms of physicality for the speaker driver. So you've taken a driver that is basically floating. If it's a moving coil speaker, it's moving across a solenoid, right? The solenoid is moving underneath, I should say rather, a coil of wire that's pushing it out or pulling it back in. And when we push it out, that cone is pushing air molecules against each other, which is creating compression in the atmosphere. When we suck it back, we're creating a vacuum of molecules in the atmosphere. And so, that compression is that's the positive part of the wave, and the suction is the negative part of the wave. When you square things off, what you're doing is you're pushing that speaker straight out, and then it's going to stay there. And it's not going to move. It's just going to hover at that extended positive range. Now, if you have additional harmonics you're trying to get that thing to do beyond that, it's going to push it in a very small area of movement for a very long time relative to its performance factor, and it will wear out. It can damage the speaker. It's similar to underpowering speakers. There's a similar damage that can be done to drivers when you underpower them, because they're not actually able to, they just burn out a lot of wear in one small area of range instead of the full range of the speakers it was designed to be efficient at. It's sort of like if I put rubbing alcohol in my gas tank, the car might turn over, but it's not going to get you down the road, because it's underpowered, because the octane just doesn't work. But if I put rocket fuel in my car, okay, it'll be louder, and it might blow up, so you have to have the right fuel for the right trip you're trying to take in the right vehicle. And that's where, you have to be careful about that sort of thing.